Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Farm. Thinking right out here in the lab. Well, I do what I do for you. I got something nice for you today. I'm feeling good about this lesson. Let's get it started. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receive them. I appreciate you. Let's do what we do. Right thinker's mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinker's way of life, through mental and spiritual discipline practiced daily, will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission, that's what I'm on, is to get all right thinkers to know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal should be to know thyself. See where I'm going with this? Let's go. So I ask you, do you know you? The answer is rhetorical, but if you don't have it for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not, foolish, disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not, it is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believes and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here too. Wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself, and always to Maya, be true. We're back in the book. Let's talk about one of my favorite characters in the book, Set. I'm going to break it down for you. Now we're going to go to right thinkers. Let's talk about Set, the character, and what he represents. I'm going to try to give you a clear, concise breakdown of your ego self. That's who Set is. That's the aspect of your personality that's not good. Y'all know it, Carl Jung call it the dark side. Okay, that's the negative aspect, your lower nature. Higher nature, Haru, lower nature, Set. We knew that thousands of years ago. Carl Jung got it modified, which is fine. You're pretty much on point, so I don't got a problem with that. But I know it from my ancients, so let's talk about Set. Okay. Set, the ancient Egyptian god. Now this is him by himself. See, he got a dog. Look at the dog. Okay, we created him. Okay, again, created him to make a point, to teach a lesson. He's a unique individual kind of thing, which is your ego. We can define it for you. Hopefully we do that. Let's go. And Set, and that brings us to the Set, which is the character and what he represents. If he knows, unlike Haru, who is related to what? The Aviar, which is quality, meaning airborne. Set is related to the four-legged animal, earthbound. He wants you to stay here. Why? This is his domain. Y'all call it the devil. Again, I get the concept, but that wasn't our concept. The ancients didn't see it that way, but it's fine. Now, it means the same thing. And Set is related to the four-legged animal. So what? So that means he is earthbound and thus related to the heavier elements like earth, metal, stone, etc. Stays here. Lighter elements rise. Heavy elements stay. As opposed to Haru, who can what? Take flight. And thus capable of what? Living on earth, physical plane, but also attaining communion through what? Righteous and virtuous living, daily meditation, and selfless service on a day-to-day basis. You commune with the air and fire, meaning the subtle elements, aka God. So this means that what? Set represents what is gross, while Haru represents the capacity, god damn it, of gross, which is subtle. And following this metaphor, the human body and its name are grosser aspects in the personality, while what? The Ba, recognized by the bird, which is the soul, and you got the which is represented by another bird. Alright? the Jabari bird and the ibis bird. Ra. See them down there? Okay. Now anything spiritual is bird. Why? Birds can take flight. That's why your spirit is recognized by the falcon or the eagle, whichever you prefer. And watch this. As we said earlier, Set is egoism, personality, not ego per se, although he does have an aspect that is ego, which is the I. You can't destroy the ego. That's true. You identify with the I, me. That's your ego. Lower self, nature, automatic. Your higher self is Haru. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry about that. When we talk about the spirit is always recognized by birds because they can take flight. You got the Ak, which is spelled AKH. That's the spirit. It's a more subtle aspect of your personality, as we said earlier. But Set is egoism per se, although he does have an aspect of the ego. Now, watch this. What you know of yourself, the I, the me, as a limited being. Again, when you're thinking like that, you have edged God out. So you don't know God perception. And that's your ego. And that's fine because that's who you are, you, until you know thyself. You know the individual self, the human self. That's your identification. That's your ego self. But your higher self is your spiritual consciousness where you have to wake up and become conscious mentally, not just spiritually, because God dwells in the heart. That's what the spirit is. That's what gives us life. But the mindset, he gave us this to use for that purpose. Don't let Set stop you. He will. If he can, his job is to keep you here, earthbound. Cycle of life. You need more bodies to keep being ignorant, to keep the process going. They tell you we live in assimilation. That's probably right. Conceptually, why? How do God know when I'm living right? How does God know I'm putting in the righteous and virtuous actions during the day? He had to be with me. That's how. And if that's so, he's in everybody, not just one. Again, and he's not outside of us. Why? He knows all. He's inside his creation. We told you that in ancient times. We wasn't beat for where God was. Sorry about that. Get back to lesson. But when you're thinking you're human, that's the ego. Simple as that. But now the question is what? What is egoism? When you live in a state of ignorance, that's the mindset, you're in hell. About your higher self, you're in lower state. That's hell. Higher state, heaven, up, the head. You as above, so below. If you don't know of your other aspect, again, other than the ego self, you don't know God. Hence, thyself. See where I'm going with this? It was making sense to me. I hope you get the concept. Now, your transcendental aspect, which is your higher self, we call God. Now, if you become egoistic, you're going to take that concept and flip it to just what? Serve yourself. That's the ego self. You start living, what's this? As if this is the only reality. I got to get mine. I got to get mine. I got to have mine. But you just grasping for illusions. Why? This is temporary. You're here to learn a lesson, not to accumulate and mass possessions, stuff, toys, okay, trinkets. So, in a way such that what you should at least seek pleasure just to satisfy your own personal desires. You are selfish. You have nepotism and all of these kinds of things. That is what? Based on your egoism. And Set represents both of these ego and egoism concepts. He's not the devil. Nope. He's you. Uncouth. Uncivilized. Unknowledge of self. Ignorant. Again, of self. Best I can see it is you ignorant of who you are. That's okay. That's my job to help you with that. Not to rag when you're ridicule about it. To enlighten you to it. Now, if you know the problem, you can start working on it. If you don't think you have a problem, you ain't going to work on it. So you got to point out the constructive criticism, point their weaknesses out sometime, and let them take it from there. That's what I'm doing. So the mother, watch this. The mother of Set was Nut. Okay, his father was Gad. That means he represented by heaven and earth. He's a concept. He's an aspect. He's not real. And in the beginning, he was a servant of Ra. Fallen angel concept. Watch this. Why? His energy was in the service of the Paute. He was part of the gods. He is known as the, ready for this, Pa-Hati-Ah, or Ah. P-E-H. That means, what's this? Strength. And the P-E-H-T-I, means double strength. He twice as strong as all the other gods. This is why he the one that does the fighting. You ever see the big guy, Mr. T? Everybody is badass. They big in the muscle. Vin Diesel, all these guys, they jack. Okay, that was set. Okay, he knew he was the baddest man in town. That's why I said he's the size. It is the size of the dog in the fight. That's the size of the fight that's in the dog. And Set, it got nothing but fight. That's all he do. That's why I say he like the honey badger. He ain't gonna run from a fight. Apophis scared the hell out of everybody else on the boat except him. Oh, and my girl, Hathor, she turned into a cat and she do work too. So if you ever see a cat and a snake, cat kicks a snake butt every time. Ancients knew that a long time ago. I didn't know nothing about that. I wonder why he used a cat. Makes sense now. His reflexes are twice as fast as the snake, so the snake can get a jump on him. Like he being the fastest gun in the West. If I can get to my gun in a split second, I can let you reach for yours. As soon as you pow, party's over. So being quick on the jaw, so to speak. Cats is like that against the snakes. Moving on. Good analogy. All right, here we go. But that means your ego is twice as strong as any other god. Except who? Hadoop, the higher you. Bam! They end up tying the knot. We did that already. I got that lesson out. But Set ain't doing the mess with why. He can beat everybody. But wait a minute. He got a nemesis too. I'm going to introduce you to her in a minute. Watch this. So, yeah, Set the double strong. Right. Now, he was called the twofold strength one. Ah means great. And he uses his strength to move the boat of Ra, okay, in the underworld. The boat of Ra moved through the sky during the day. He didn't need him then. As the sun this. Ra in the sun right now, he ain't got no problems. It's his time. When he go into the underworld, he got to deal with Apophis, okay? His nemesis. Everybody has one. His opposite, all right? And during the day, he's the sun this right now. But and it shines and it's doing what? It serves the needs of sustaining who? Us, life on earth, humans. He pushes the clouds out the way. He moves the rain. So Set was a great and powerful force. Again, but for the good and for sustaining life, he had his role to play, and that's what he did. He still do. He just don't need to be in control. Everybody know the strong guy ain't too smart. You keep him what? Doing Hulk. The Hulk only do one thing, smash. When he come to smash. He ain't come to negotiate. No, my man. When the Hulk come, it's smashing time. The thing, clobbering time. Those big guys, that's what they want to do. Exercise their right. They got jacked for a reason. You ever see a big guy who doesn't want to fight? They always looking for a fight to exercise how strong and how bad they are. Okay? But something happened. The fallen angel, he got jealous, envy set in, emotions took over, and he started losing his strength for what? Negative, aka Darth Vader. Luke, I am your father. But they made sure that Set would never duplicate. He can't reproduce. Okay. Another story where him and Haru was fighting. Haru cut his nuts off. He blinded Haru. Listen, these are all stories, metaphors to teach lessons and like that's all they are. And the stories is good. Once you learn them, you can understand them, and then you can implement it. You become them. So, and that's how it's done. I'm trying to tell you. So let me get this out the way right quick. Now, in the Osiris resurrection myth, again, see, we tell you, the resurrection myth, we are told that he became jealous of Asar. Told you that. And then he what? He murdered Asar and wanted to take his place. And he did. To assume the throne and commit and become king. And he no longer, what, assisted in the Ra's boat. He actually fought against it. He became the dark side. He crossed over to the dark side. He used to work for Ra, fallen angel. See where I'm going with this? All these metaphors that we use in religion, everybody yells. It's a teaching lesson. My metaphors are just about my life experiences. So I can use them knowing this is what happened then. Whatever lesson I learned from that, that's fine. But that's what they for. To teach lessons, to instruct. So, and again, the Bible, basic instruction before leaving earth. They give you things you need to do if you want to make it to heaven. That's the concept. I know that too. Come on, man. Now, He actually fought against Ra. He wanted to promote gloom and doom and clouds and rain. See? And this is what Set represents. Coldness, opacity, ignorance, jealousy, envy, and not warmth. Mean no love. He's not emotionally attached to nobody, nothing. He is self-destructive. If he will destroy himself, he cares less about you. Those are the kind of people you might not want to mess with. A person who ain't scared to die, you might not want to deal with them people. They got nothing to lose. A person who ain't got nothing, and you got everything, leave him be. Why? He ain't got nothing to lose. You got everything to lose. That don't make much sense. That's why. So moving on. I'm stopping the lesson right there to move on down here to get to the good stuff. All right. Now, I just told you about Apophis. Apep, they call him. Now, Apep is the great serpent that fights who? Against Ra and stops him or tries to destroy the boat of Ra every time he comes out to the Duwa in the afterlife, underworld, they call it. And he may also be considered, watch this, as Set lieutenant. When Set crossed over, like the dark guy who Darth Vader worked for, the evil one, the guy, he was his boss. Now, Ra was the good guy, and Pepper the bad guy. So now, Set crossed over, hanging out with the bad guy. Okay, that's where he went. Okay, he became one of them. And watch this. Now, Set has, you ready for this? 75 different forms that he can transform into. Again, aspects that can transform, physical stuff. Okay, his favorite was the hippopotamus. Okay, even a black pig. You know, he did a whole bunch of stuff. But the point is, because why he had that? Because Ra also has what? 75 forms, so he can match them form for form. When him and Haru was battle, they turn to hippos. They go in the water for 3 months, 90 days. They have submerged under the water, stuff like that. But he also has 75 names to fight off the darkness. Now you got fight off darkness against the light. Classic. We got just as much daylight as we got darkness. At one time, we had total darkness. Okay? So, and remember that Ra, which represents light, is a form of Haru, which is you. We have the same qualities that Ra have: energy, fight, okay, the fire, light. So, the conflict is ultimately what? Between Haru, you, and Set. Another part of you, your personality. See that? The dilemma you got going on inside you? That's perfect. Why? Because you become a deciding factor, aka free will. You can serve you, serve the higher you. Your choice. That's free will. Let's go at its best. Moving on. Now, but it is also between you, the aspirant, the right thinker, and the tendency towards what? Either darkness and ignorance. Without you as a spiritual aspirant, if you are lack of knowledge, you are ignorant of yourself, you are in the dark. Sorry about that. Come into God's glorious light. And remember that when the main weapons from Ra is what? The sun rays, light. When you're in the dark, what's the one thing as a Mason? You're blindfolded. You go through all this, they shuffle you around, you move around, you have to all that. They ask you, what's the thing you desire most? Light. I want to see. So let there be light. That's the concept. It's a ritual that takes you from what? Ignorance into knowledge. I did that 40 years ago with the concept of learning how to be what? A better you. Esoterically and metaphorically, we use the same tools that a Mason used to build edifice. We use the same tools for a more noble and glorious purpose called speculative masonry. It's been around since forever. They got secrets. I know them. Okay, I got some too. I'm gonna expose all of them as I could. Now I'm gonna move along. This is what I call fluff. But I want to get you to know about my girl, WRIGHT. This is the hippopotamus goddess. Okay, she's the female goddess. WRIGHT. The name is spelled R-E-R-E-T. Sometimes with the W-E-R-E-T. But her main duty, what's this? Is to what? Capture Set. I just told you, Set is the bad man, right? When he transformed to hippopotamus, he got a problem. Because WRIGHT is the queen. Alright, watch this. Her job is to capture Set and to what? Chain him and control him. So that means you got to bring your hippopotamus personality out to deal with your ego personality, which is set, and chain his ass up and hold him at bay. Watch this. This is a good one. I like this. Now, this is a good concept. This goddess form is an aspect, again, of Aset, which represents wisdom. Notice that phonetically, the name of the two divinities are opposites. Set means to shoot out, okay? And Aset means royal throne, the abode. And she is a healer as well, that which is put back together. She put her husband back together. She brought Asar Haru back to life. Notice also that phonetically Aset has the name of what? Set in her name. She stabilizes and controls Set, and that is why Haru must study her principles. I Set, wisdom, knowledge of self, in order to what? Defeat Set, which is ignorance of self. With knowledge of self, you can always defeat ignorance of self. So good would always beat bad. We grew up that way. We don't flip the script. We saying bad, winning. That's crazy. Why? You influencing people to be bad. You glamorizing drug dealing, all that nonsense, the stuff I'm against. Y'all glorifying it. We was out there 40 years ago. Well, it was around then too. That's why I did. Excuse me. But now I know better. Okay. Set is also known as what? The Kopash. Excuse me. Not right now. Not right now. I ain't got time for that. Okay. And what that means? That means he's the thigh piece. He's a heavy guy. Big, heavy hitter. Okay. Where we at over here? This is, okay, this is the constellation in the sky. God damn it. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to take care of that. But the capiche is the weapon, but it's called the mouth opener, opening the way. But it's like a sword. But this is the picture, what it looks like. See the constellation in the sky? You see where I'm at? It's a 7 constellation. I think that's the Pleiades. But you got the 7 constellation stars. And you see where I'm at? You see how she got set by the tail? That's her job. And that's Haru keeping them at bay. Okay? So the ego will be taken care of. It can't be dealt with. Okay? But they got a tag team. They got to jump them, so to speak. You got to take. That's how strong the ego is. So that's what they're showing you. You can defeat him with help. So I'm moving on here to the good part. Let's get to the part here. The Kopash, excuse me, is the power that must be discovered and what? Mastered. You have to be able to handle yourself. For succeeding on the spiritual path, an aspirant must learn to be diligent, unwavering in what? His daily practice of right thinking philosophy teachings, and because he's in the pursuit of what? Truth. I could drop the pen and walk away, but we got more to go. In this way, such an aspirant or right thinker, you will discover what? The unchanging consciousness, and not the type of conscious that most people have, that wavers with times, sometimes being lucid, other times being clouded. Then that's emotion. Emotion's the roller coaster. Then the mind becomes what? Awake to the teaching, and not just intimately or in a mediocre way, but in a more mature and dynamic way, where that will allow the teachings to become effective. Meaning, if you practice the stuff that I'm giving you, you'll know for yourself it works. Let's talk about it right quick and wrap it up with the entropy. You see right there on that boat, you got Ra sitting down there watching, while you see the guy behind him? One of them is Tahuti, which is Ra's mind. Then you got the other one, which is Haru, which is our spirit, which is you. You watching your ego fight off the real bad guy, which is Apophis, okay, our pet, the giant serpent, okay, that's so big, he wrapped around the earth 3.5 times. So he's a big dude. And when he come up, everybody is in fear. So let's talk about it right quick. In the Mediterranean religion, okay, there is no concept of evil as in conceptualized in Western culture. Rather, it is understood what? That the force of entropy are constantly working in nature to bring what? That which has been constructed, that which has been made into a form, back to what its original natural state of what? Undifferentiated matter, aka the noon. Apophis wants to go back to the original state where he's king in the noon, right? So, where we at? Okay, and the serpent Apophis who daily tries to what? Stop Ra's boat of creation, which is sunlight for us, and the primary symbol of entropy. This concept of entropy has been referred to, watch this, as chaos. Isfet. Okay, the opposite of order is chaos. That's Mayat. Mayat represents order. The opposite of her is Itfet. He represents chaos. He don't get no run. Reason why? Not good. Worse than Set. Okay. Now, by the Western Egyptologists, that's what they called it. But however, the term entropy is more accurate. Why? Reading of the teachings. Here it is. You got Set protecting the boat of Ra from the forces of entropy, symbolized by who? The serpent Apep. As expressed previously in Mediterranean religion, there is no concept of the devil. Okay, y'all create him, or a demon, as conceived in the Judeo-Christian or Islamic traditions. They all say the same thing. Moving on, we ain't going there. Rather, it is understood, again, understood, that manifestation of detrimental situations and adverse situations as a result of what? Your unrighteous actions, aka, and their consequences that come with them. These unrighteous actions, watch this, are due to what? The Septenian qualities in all human beings, not just some. We all have an ego, so we all have Set in us. Set is the divinity of egoism, and the negative quality, the dark side, which arise from egoism. Egoism may also be defined as what? Watch this, the idea of individuality, me, I, and is based on the personal identification. Carl Jung called it the id. This is the identification with the self, with the body and the mind. You only see yourself as two dimensions, as being one who is one. Your mind and body as being who is just one. One has no deeper awareness of their what? Deeper spiritual essence. Why? Because of ignorance, and thus no understanding of their connectedness to what? To all other objects, includes other persons in creation and the divine self, which is God, that created himself. When the ego is under the control of what? Higher nature, it what? It fights the forces of entropy. Watch this. As above, he's on the right team. He's fighting for the right reasons. However, if it's beset with ignorance, not knowing, he's going to go switch to play for the wrong team. And that leads to what? The degraded states of human existence, aka hell, falling down into vices, egoism, selflessness, extrovertness, wanting, sexual desires, lust, jealousy, gluttony, envy, greedy, etc. You see where I'm going with that? Those are all humanistic traits of somebody who is egoistic, not higher nature, lower nature. And all this are the results of what? So that the principle of Set is not inherently evil or bad, but when ignorance takes over the personality, it what? Forgets. It forgets its what? True self. It can now turn to egoism, selfishness, and greed. Why? That's all it knows. When somebody pulls the chains and get better and they really ain't got it down pat, what they're going to do? Revert back to what they know. Revert back to the old habits. They're going to go back to what they do. Men who hit will come back and hit. Why? That's all they know. When you get away from that, you control that aspect of your character. That's the whole purpose of being what? Self-mastery. You don't do certain things out of emotion, out of situation. No, you do the right thing. That's the difference. Okay, wrapping it up. We are to turn that force of Set where? Around and place it where? You ready? In the service. Again, of Ra, or our higher self, which is what he'll do what? And by using it to what? Fight off the true egoism and the negative desires. In that way, we will succeed on the path of the tree of life. Symbolically, metaphorically, and understanding. These are things that you can do for yourself. Let's wrap this up with, since Set was originally the divinity of power that empowered that power to assist the divine. You can say he started out working for a while, he got misguided, he fell off, fallen angel, whatever. Watch this. But he also lost his way and was subdued. He is not seen as a divinity of evil, again, like the devil, which y'all keep making him out to be in the Western religions, again. Rather, he is a redeemed character. I try to tell you, you'll see him as a bad guy. Y'all don't see him redeemed. Why? Because he's back doing his job for Ra after losing what? His fight to Haru, your higher self. He back in the service position where he needs to be, where he's good at that, just fighting off Apophis. Now, he got a personality that lost his way and was brought back. The devil, Christians, God didn't let Lucifer back, okay, to the path of truth. There is proof, watch this, that Set's name was used in ancient Egyptians, most prominently the pharaoh Seti the first, who had the name of Set incorporated into his own. You can't take a bad guy and put him in position of power like we're about to do with this guy. Again, they don't need to be in the power position. Why? Set, we showing you why. The ego, and this could not have occurred. Why? If Set was a bad guy and negative personality. No, he just uncouth. Ain't your boy like that every now and then? Just say stuff, just pop out his head. So we understand that part about him. But if that's what's running him, we don't need him running us. So he was a beneficiary personality when what? When properly mastered. That's the difference. As outlined here. Here, therefore, is a metaphor for all of us who have the same point, lost their way at one point, lost their way, never found it, changed, and that's the difference. Watch this. In order who have moved away from what? The divine at one point in time, who can now regain their standings. How? By allowing Haru, you, in them to what? Fight order and truth for you, your lower self. In so doing, your aspirant, now you can redeem Asar, where? Within themselves, and thus attain higher consciousness, aka Nihas, spiritual enlightenment. As Set is an important divinity. We have discussed about him in previous lessons, and guess what? We will discuss more about him in the future lessons. But for now, that's all. The lesson is over for today. Right thinkers, may you all live to be 100 and be 100 miles a day. So I never knew that right thinker like you passed away. Oh, we're done with Set. I think he's moving on. Yep, lesson 8. I'll be back. Appreciate you.